Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander Score studio. Welcome to the show. Okay, so spoiler season rages on even on the weekend, and yeah, Jump Scare came out of nowhere. Well, actually, I think they announced that'd be getting released today. Regardless, Jump Scare is a very exciting precon, and now we know the brand new cards that we're getting in it, including what might be my very favorite commander. I was gonna say like variant commander at the same time. Very favorite commander from the set in the precons, Kianne, Corrupted Memory. Is that how you say the name? Kianne? I'm not sure. 2/2 Illusion for 4 mana in Simic. As long as its power is even, you may cast non-creature spells as though they had flash. As long as its power is odd, you may cast creature spells as though they had flash. Whenever you draw a card, put a counter on it. This is diabolical. I mean, this is the type of commander that is so incredibly unique. I love when Wizards just lets their designers just go ham on a design and say, you know what? Let's do something weird. Something really weird. It's like Vidalcan Ori, but this side half the time, that side half the time. It depends on what the power is, essentially. And also when you're drawing, that is how a way to manipulate it. But also that's an incredibly powerful thing, too. Literally, whenever you're drawing a card, you get a counter on this. Oh, by the way, there's a certain kind of card type that's in one of these two colors. In blue, you got wheels. Yeah, that's just a thing. So if you have, let's say the non-creature part activated, well, maybe you cast like a Windfall or whatever. Oh my goodness, draw so many cards. Maybe switch over to creatures and then cast a creature. You see where this is going. Yeah, the power can become outrageous in absolutely no time. There's, of course, ways to take advantage of that massive power on top of just, well, smacking your opponents for 21 damage out of the, probably flying. You got ways to give it evasion and these colors, trample, whatever. But yes, being able to just demolish your opponents with this commander while at the same time giving you so much value. Again, Vidalcan Ori in the command zone, basically. Because, again, you do need some ways maybe to manipulate the power so that you could actually have, non-creature when you want non-creature, creature when you want creature. Yeah, there's a really cool give and take with this commander, a really cool interplay with it, and the power can be absolutely absurd. Yeah, you can do some crazy awesome things. Let's jump into some of them right now. I'm going to give you some deck pickups right now. Or, okay, at least when I'm saying deck pickups, I mean more so cards that, well, if they're not already in the precon, you should be considering cards that work well with this brand new commander. The first one that actually came to my mind is actually Ursipine, which is an adorable card. It's actually in my elf that taps for a lot of mana deck a long time ago. Ursipine is a 3/3 beast for 5 mana and green. Pay a single green mana. Target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. This is very simple. All this is literally just a power manipulation play for this commander. Well, and also, later on when you've got a ton of mana, you could probably win just pumping your commander to a certain amount. But yeah, being able to manipulate your commander's power level is huge because let's say that you literally want to, switch from non-creature spells to creature spells. Sure, just pay a single green mana. Oh, now you've got a Vidalcan Ori for creature spells. Congratulations. I want to switch it back. Oh, one more and just do that. So this is basically like a 1 mana, just get to the exact kind of spell, non-creature or creature that you need to get to so you can cast them at flash speed while also pumping your commander a lot. So again, manipulation outside of drawing is a way as well. Simic Ascendancy does this in a similar way. It is obviously more mana intensive. 1 green and a blue to get a counter on a creature control. That's permanent pump. That being said, it does cost 3 instead of Ursipine's 1, so it does take a little bit more to actually flip it over. That being said, yeah, this is an incredibly easy win condition for you with this commander. Whenever 1 or more counters are put on a creature you control, put that many growth counters on this. At the beginning of your upkeep, if it's got 20 or more growth counters on it, you win the game. Again, like I mentioned earlier, hey, you wheel, you draw cards. Let's say you're drawing 7. Okay, that's 7 counters on my commander, 7 counters on this. And again, you can very easily wheel again at instant speed, which you usually can't do with the vast majority of wheels out there. Next up. Yeah, I was going to bring up like Merfolk Looter because that's an easy way just to have, low to the ground creatures that can tap to draw you a card. That's also another way to manipulate the power of your commander, obviously, because you can, well, draw some cards, get an extra counter on. Cool, awesome. But I love Arcana, so I want to point this one out. Tap, draw 3 cards. So again, that does change it up. Obviously, if it was like an even number like tap, draw 2, it would stay the same. It would stay, non-creature or creature. That being said, with this, again, drawing 3, obviously, it switches to the other one, going even or odd. But yeah, Arcanus is amazing. Tapping to draw 3, cool, do so. And again, this is one that can be a pretty, big target, and that this is a good commander for, big target cards because, again, by being able to cast this at flash speed, right before your turn, you can just get this in play, and then next turn immediately tap it instead of, playing it on your turn and then hoping you can get around one trip on the table to tap it without just being seen as a big threat. So do keep that in mind. Next up, again, like I said, wheels. One of the other cards I thought about right away was Forgotten Creation. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may discard all the cards in your hand if you do draw that many cards. There might be times where you don't want to do that. Obviously, if you got some really good things in your hand, but, or if you don't want to switch from creature to non-creature for some reason or whatever, or the other way around when it comes to changing up the power and you've got no other ways to, actually manipulate that. That being said, this is just like, oh, okay, you have 7 cards in your hand. Cool. Discard, draw 7. Cool. Free way to, well, flip it, from the power and toughness or whatever it is. And then, I guess it'd be 6 even. Anyways, being able to switch it, but also being able to just get a free 7 counters on your commander, or again, however many cards you have in your hand, that's how many counters you are getting. Or even more than that, because Hardened Scales is a thing. Enchant for a single green mana, if one or more counters be placed on a creature you control, that many +1 counters are placed on instead. Correct me, rules lawyers out there in the comments below, but I believe literally it does not matter how many cards you are drawing, you are getting that many counters times 2, because it'd be, if you draw 7 cards, you're drawing 1 at a time technically, so that'd be 1 counter at a time on your commander, and that means that it's 2 counters instead of 1 each time. So again, if you wheel, you draw 7, you're getting 14 counters on your commander. Rules lawyers out there, let me know if that's correct or not. Regardless, even if it's not, yeah, there's plenty of different ways to draw cards, get counters, and 1 at a time as well. So yeah, keep that in mind, but I believe it's correct. Levitation, yes, please, I love this card. Enchantment for 4 mana in blue. Creatures control flying. It's so simple, so effective, it just seems too easy that many players out there do not play this card, and it's an amazing one. Giving your commander flying is usually enough to get it through on your opponents. Most opponents, I would say. I mean, there's probably one player out there that's like, I've got a little flyer, good for me. And then you're just like, okay, I swing my giant commander. You're like, oh no, I block. I don't know, I've got no more flyers. Yeah, being able to give your commander flying is great. And it gives your entire team flying. So yeah, swinging through an opponent, taking them out in one shot with this commander that, again, can very easily be a one-shot commander. Your opponent might think they're okay. You swing at them with your commander, like, well, it's only got 10 power. Okay, I can survive that once. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, wheel, you're gone. Yeah, again, being able to do things at flash speed is pretty crazy. And of course, trample is another thing to get, damage through as well. Return of the Wild Speaker does not give trample, but you could give non-human creature control +3/+3. Sure, cool. Or draw a card deal the greatest power among non-human creatures you control. Again, your commander is an illusion, not a human. Therefore, you're going to draw a ton of cards with this. So yeah, basically double up your commander's power in a way too. So yeah, if you've got those cards like this, Rishkar's Expertise, etc., Soul's Power, or whatever that one is, Soul's Might, all those things are like, hey, draw cards. There's a Garrick as well that does it too. Get all those, throw them in the deck, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, cool, draw, double, draw, double, draw, double. Lovely. Yeah, it can be a lot of fun. River's Rebuke, speaking of fun, hey, Cyclonic Rift, yes, I know that you're better, sure. That being said, budget Cyclonic Rift for 1 player. Return all non-land permanents target player controls back to owner's hand. Again, this has the downside of being sorcery speed, but not with this commander. Again, when you have that certain kind of power, then you are able to cast this at flash speed, being able to just, oh, okay, cool, yeah. You're swinging at me with your entire army. You sure you want to do that? Okay, I warn you, and bounce everything back to their hand. Or, if you need to get through with your commander to win the game, you can do that too. Really quick, though, let's go through some pricey ones. I've kind of talked about Windfall. Windfall's a great wheel, obviously. So yeah, a lot of wheels are very pricey. Each player discards their hand. Draws cards to the greatest number of cards player discard this way. This can draw you a ton of cards, getting a lot of counters on your commander. Triumph of the Hordes. You know what's fun for your friends? Surprise Infect. Yay! I mean, you might lose your friends. Until end of turn, creature can quote +1/+1 and gain trample on Infect. Again, your friends are going to be blocking in a certain way because, oh, they assume that, Well, this is gonna work out for me. I'll chump block your commander. Commander's got 10 power. Okay, I'll chump block with my little 1/1. Ha 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 ha. You thought you could get me? Oh my goodness. Oh, they flashed in a Triumph of the Hordes. Yeah, again, certain cards at instant speed are just gross. Doubling Season. If an effect would create a token, you double the tokens. Counters, double the counters. Basically, again, like hardened scales, but better, obviously. Yeah, very, very crazy good and crazy expensive, of course, for many reasons. Finally, Overwhelming Stampede. Yeah, this one's pretty apparent as to why it's really good. Until end of turn, creatures you control get trample and get +X/+X, and until X the greatest power among creatures you control. Basically, doubles up your commander's power and gives trample, which is lovely, but of course, gives that power as well and trample to your entire team. So yeah, swing through and take everyone out. Yeah, this commander seems really spicy, really fun, and really powerfully right build. But of course, that is not the only card that was spoiled today. And actually, I should probably point out that I do have a mix of cards that are in the actual set and a mix of cards that are in the precon as well. Look at the little icon to make sure you know which is which. Just the regular butterfly is main set. Anyways, the Tale of Tamiyo. First, second, third lore counters are mill 2 cards. If 2 cards that share a card type were milled this way, draw a card and repeat this process. I mean, it does seem like a challenge, doesn't it, right? Like being able to just, get this out and then be like, okay, cool, mill draw, mill draw, mill draw, mill draw, mill draw, mill draw off of like a 99 lands deck. I mean, you lose, but yeah, there's gotta be some fun to that, right? I mean, it could be 99 lands, it'd be 98 lands. But yeah, it'd be like with Sisay, but how do you get extra power on that? I don't know. Lots of fun to be had, though. Anyways, not building around in combo. The fourth lore counter is exile any number of target instant sorcery and or Tamiyo planeswalker cards from your graveyard. Copy them. You may cast any number of the copies. That seems very powerful once you get to it. So yeah, this obviously could be utilized in a Saga deck just generally. This could be utilized in a Proliferate deck. This could be utilized in a Spellslinger deck. Very, very cool. And I guess Tamiyo Planeswalker deck as well. Next up, Glitch Interpreter. There you go. There's the icon from the actual precon, okay? 2/3 Human Wizard for 3 mana in blue. When it enters, if you control no face-down permanents, return it to its owner's hand and manifest red. That's cool. Whenever one or more colors creatures you control deal combination to player, draw a card. Okay, well this, I guess this is probably some kind of a weird combo because you could just, play this, right? You make it face down. And then all of a sudden, you sacrifice it to a Phyrexian Altar for a blue mana. And if you've got some like cost reducers in play as well, that this could cost down to nothing essentially at that point. Just keep redoing it again and again and again and again and again. There could be a combo there too. But yeah, one or more colorless creatures you control to combination player, draw a card. This could see play in colorless decks as well. I mean, drawing at a max 3 cards each turn. That's still very, very good. Plus, this is 2 bodies for 1. Quite good. Quite an interesting card. I like it. Moving on. They came from the pipes. Interesting. Enchantment for 5 mana in blue. Enters Manifest Dread twice, so that's 2. Plus, basically kind of like 2 Surveil in a way, too. Whenever a face-down creature you control enters, draw a card. Eddie, don't you dare put this in the face-down tribal deck. Okay, Eddie's definitely going to do that. Yeah, pretty crazy card. If you've got any kind of a deck that cares about, again, Morph, Dread, Manifest Dread, all the Manifest, you know what I mean. All those things, consider this one. Next up, Zimone's Hypothesis. Instant for 5 mana in blue. You may put a counter on a creature, then choose odd or even. Return each creature power of the chosen quality to its owner's hand. That is cool. Yeah, I like this kind of like odd even manipulation. Very, very cool. I mean, this one really could see play like in like a, I would say most like a token strategy could really, really, really do well with this. I'm thinking like Talran, right? You make a bunch of Drakes that are all the same amount of power and toughness. I mean, the power is what matters, but yeah. Being able to say, okay, I'll pick the other one to bounce everything else that's not, you know what I mean? I think you need kind of like a deck that has mostly creatures of the same power, odd, or even. You know what I mean? Okay, let's just go with that. But yeah, very powerful, potentially one-sided board wipe at 5 mana. Next up, Curator Beastie, a 6/6 beast with reach for 6 mana in green. Cause creatures you control enter with 2 additional counters on them whenever enters or attacks. Manifest Dread. Interesting. I like the ETB attack, Manifesting Dread. That's a lot of value to be had. I don't know kind of what deck's going to be looking for this one with like the interplay of, those colorless creatures entering with 2 counters on them. Like, Just this plus its own effect, right, obviously is really good. Like ETB, okay, make a 2/2, which also basically, you know, is a 4/4 because it's getting 2 counters on it. So this just playing in its own arena is very, very good, making 4/4s every single time on attack, plus like some card selection in there too. But when it comes to like this in a colorless deck, it seems kind of, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of like what colorless decks out there want a big green creature. I mean, I'm sure there's some out there, but it's like you usually have a lot of other synergies with colorless. It's interesting. I'm sure there are definitely some out there that could really utilize this one, though. Moving on. Disorienting Choice. A sorcerer, 4 mana in green. For each opponent, choose up to 1 target artifact or enchantment the player controls. For each permanent chosen this way, its controller may exile it. Then if one or more of the chosen permanents are still on the battlefield, you may search your library for up to that many land cards from the battlefield tab, then shuffle. Interesting. So either, I mean, again, for each opponent, so you are getting rid of potentially 3 things permanently, or you are ramping at the same time. So yeah, you are either ramp 3 or, you know, get rid of 3 things, or somewhere in between those 2 things. It does say choose up to 1. So, interesting. Interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, it's kind of like a political card in a way. Moving on. Experimental Lab / Staff Room. We've got another room. Whenever you unlock this door, manifest dread, then put 2 counters on and triple counter on that creature. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, turn that creature face up, put a counter on it. This one seems pretty specific for, again, like a face down type deck. Again, whether that's Morph, whether that's Dread, those kinds of things. Eddie, stop getting good cards for your deck, please. Next up. Shriekwood Devourer. Really cool art on this one. 7/5 Tree Folk with Trample for 7 mana. Whenever you attack with 1 or more creatures, untap it to X land where X is the greatest power among those creatures. Okay. Okay, gross. Okay, gross. Okay, disgusting. No. I mean, yeah, combo potential here with obviously extra turn spells or extra turn abilities. Yeah, that's pretty gross. I mean, also just even without that, though, just being like, okay, cool. I attack with just this, and all of a sudden untap 7 lands. Yeah, that's a lot of value to be had. So look out for this. This is pretty crazy good. I mean, it's 7 mana, so it's a lot, but still, like, you're in green, you can get out pretty quick and then have fun. Good luck. Next up, this is terrifying. Look at that art. Oh my gosh, is that like a baby doll head in a cage that walks around? Yeah, the thing of nightmares. Giggling Skitterspike, and it's giggling! That's terrifying. A 1/1 artifact creature toy. Yeah, I guess it's a toy. That costs 4 mana. Indestructible. Whenever it attacks, blocks, or becomes the target of a spell, it deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. Monstrosity, 5 for 5 mana. I mean, this is like bigger Stuffy Doll, essentially, right? Kind of in a way, like Stuffy Doll is like based on the damage that it's dealt. This deals out damage just based on its own power. You can pay 5 mana into it and make it a 6/6 essentially, right, with a monstrosity. But, of course, there's other ways to pump it as well. And again, it happens on attack too, and also on targeting. Oofda. Yeah, you can do some pretty crazy things with this one. I mean, like a Zada deck could definitely consider this one with the amount of, like, pump effects that Zada has, as well as the amount of targeting spells that Zada has. That seems quite good. Yeah, I mean, I think this one, yeah, ow. Okay, yeah, I think that's pretty good, pretty spicy. Not for every deck out there, but really, really cool. Again, like Stuffy Doll-esque. Yeah, if you've got ways to make this power absurdly large, you can take all your opponents out at once. Next up, Oblivious Bookworm. Oh no, that's not going to go well for you. A 2/3 human wizard. I'm talking about the art. 2/3 human wizard for 2 mana and Civic. At the beginning of your end step, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card unless a permanent enter the battlefield face down under your control this turn, or you turn a permanent face up this turn. Here's the thing. You don't have to actually be in, like, again, a face-down tribal deck or one that has a lot of Manifest Dread or whatnot in the deck to make use out of this one. Again, just at the beginning of your end step, you can draw a card and discard a card. That's still worthwhile for a decent amount of decks out there when it comes to, like, okay, cool, I want just, like, a little bit of extra card selection. Maybe I've got ways to get extra value off of drawing cards. You know, get extra, you know, okay, maybe I have, like, Thought Reflection. I can draw 2 cards instead of 1. Then it is card advantage, or ones that really play into discard synergies as well. But yeah, I mean, obviously, you're just getting strip card advantage if you do have face-down tribal deck. But I don't know if it'd make the cut in that one. Anyways, moving on. Under the Skin. Really cool art. Gross. Sorcery for 3 mana in green. And Manifest red. You may return a permanent card from your grave to your hand. Probably more of a limited card, in my opinion. Yeah, it's just kind of okay. Horrid Vigor. An instant for 2 mana in green. Target creature gains Death Touch and Indestructible until end of turn. I feel like we get this card, like, in different ways, like, every third set, basically. But yeah, 2 mana. Yeah, there's better, like, indestructible things for, like, 1 mana. And then also, like, if you want to give your entire team indestructible, I mean, nothing's Heroic Intervention except for, like, a couple things now, but still, like, yeah, it's just okay. Next up, Boiler Bilge Ripper, a 4/4 human assassin for 5 mana in red. I wonder what it's holding in its hand. Yeah. When it enters, you may sacrifice another creature or enchantment. When you do, 2 damage to any target. Limited card. Next up, Erratic Apparition, a 1/3 spirit with flying and vigilance for 3 mana in blue. Whenever an enchantment you control enters and whenever you fully unlock a room, +1 till end of turn. I mean, sure, if you infinitely combo getting enchantments in play, cool, infinite power without trample. But it has flying, so you get through, I guess. But yeah, I mean, outside of very specific circumstances, this is a limited card. Next up, Appendage Amalgam. Weird. Gross. A 3/2 enchantment creature with flash that costs 3 mana in black. Attacks Surveil 1. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you have, like, a flash deck, maybe consider this one, or one that really cares about Surveil. Outside of that, limited card. Glimmerlight. It's a flashlight. Hilarious. Okay, artifact equipment for 2 mana. Equip 1. When it enters 1/1 Glimmer enchantment creature token. Note that it is not automatically attached to it, like, a germ. +1. This seems like a limited card, unless you have, like, one of those decks out there that really cares about, like, equipment and also making creatures. Like, I've seen some decks that do that. Most of those are more like the germ decks, but still, this could see play potentially in that kind of a deck. Next up, Glimmer Burst. Instant for 4 mana in blue. Draw 2, make a 1/1. I mean, like, again, there are certain decks out there that really care about, like, enchantment creature tokens, because, like, if you can populate those, you can get, like, good constellation effects with that. Outside of that, yeah, 4 mana to draw 2 cards instant speed. You're paying a bit too much for that. Creeping Peeper. Quite the name and quite the art. Gross. 2/1 I for 2 mana in blue. Tap add blue. Spend only mana to cast an enchantment spell. Unlock a door or turn a permanent face up. Very specific mana dork, but sure, I guess. If you're, like, in a blue Enchantress deck, maybe. But maybe not. Next up, Daggermaw Megalodon. Okay. I have a problem, as sharks are my favorite animals of all time. I mean, I'm terrified of them. I would never want to be anywhere near one, except I think I pet a nurse shark once. Anyways, I don't think that Wizards respects Megalodons. I believe this is our 2nd Megalodon ever. Correct me in the comments below if I'm wrong on that. I mean, I know we've got other sharks, right, and giant sharks, but this is the 2nd named Megalodon. Both of them are commons. And they're like, I'm terrifying, the most terrifying shark of all time. By the way, I'm a 5/7 for 7 mana. 6 mana, whatever. Vigilance, Island Cycling for 2. I mean, if you got a cycling deck, sure, consider this one. It's more of a limited card, though, typically, it seems like. But yeah, come on, Wizards. Give some respect to the Megalodon name. Come on. I mean, the art is terrifying and amazing, but, like, come on, give me a Commander Megalodon Mythic that's just, like, I don't even know what it would do. It's like the size of the world. And with that, this episode is come to a close. Make sure you comment below with your thoughts on it. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.